Hello everybody, welcome back to Tini Fragrance. My name is John Novatini, and I am dedicated to bringing you unbiased, unsponsored, and unpaid for fragrance reviews, something that can be hard to find on the internet these days. Today we're breaking down my top 5 favorite winter fragrances. Anyone who knows me or knows this channel knows that I love wintry fragrances. Sweet, tobacco, honey, leather, patchouli, spice, pink pepper. These are all notes that I absolutely adore, but you can really only wear when it's cold out. And I've got 5 fragrances that I absolutely love, that I've bought full bottles of, that I want to review today and recommend for anyone looking for their next winter fragrance. The first fragrance that I just absolutely love in wintertime is actually not too expensive. A lot of the fragrances I review on this channel are very, very expensive, but this one is one that can be found at Sephora for about $100. This is Spicebomb Infrared by Viktor and Rolf. I do not like the EDP. This is the EDT, much better in my opinion. This fragrance is just a blast of pink pepper when it opens up. As it dies down, you get more leather, but this is a very sweet, very spicy fragrance, perfect for cold winter days. The smell of this actually reminds me a lot of poinsettias during Christmas time. Walking into a Christmas Eve service at midnight, it's candlelit, the altar is decorated with poinsettias, there's spices and incense in the air. This fragrance will take you right to that scene. Just a beautiful winter fragrance. It's got the perfect amount of pink pepper that makes it very spicy, warm, and cozy, but doesn't ever get too spicy like some other more traditionally masculine fragrances do. I think they did a good job not putting ambroxan in this. That's a synthetic woodsy note that a lot of more winter fragrances for men do have a lot of. Think Dior Sauvage, which I like Dior Sauvage Elixir, not Sauvage EDP or EDT as much. But this one, it has a very different approach to the masculine winter fragrance that is absolutely wonderful. If you're looking for just one fragrance for this winter that doesn't just absolutely destroy your bank, Viktor and Rolf's Spicebomb Infrared is one that I recommend wholeheartedly. You can find I did a full review about this like over a year ago on this channel, but I just want to give a brief overview of why it's in my top 5 winter fragrances. For the price, it's one of the best. Lasts a long time on my skin, projects a ton, just a fantastic winter fragrance for men. Now up next, we are going up a bit in the price point. I said Viktor and Rolf Spicebomb Infrared, about $100-$120 last time I checked. Sure, you can find the discounters, but this next one, a little more. This one costs $395. It's actually one of the newest release, maybe the newest release from Guerlain Patchouli Paris. Let me get a nice close-up of the bottle for you all. Really beautiful design. It's got a limited edition red Paris cap, which is pretty cool. But if you know this channel, you know pretty much any Delphine Yelk fragrance, I like it. There's always a question of, do I like it and want to smell like it? Some Guerlain fragrances, no, I don't want to smell like that. They smell good, but not for me. But Patchouli Paris is one that I actually blind bought based off the notes. And they sent a sample of it. And I was thinking, well, if I don't like it, I'll try the sample. If I don't like it, I'll just send it back. No money lost. Sprayed the sample. Said, no, I'm keeping this one. Patchouli Paris, it starts off, actually, the opening, there's nothing in the notes that should remind me of this, but the opening reminds me of a slightly dirtier, slightly spicier oud wood. If you've smelled Tom Ford's oud wood, the opening of this is actually pretty similar. I think it's the balsamic and vanilla notes that Patchouli Paris and oud wood have in common, but it's not a dupe at all. It just reminds me of it. Now, as this dries down, the opening, you get a massive blast of this earthy patchouli. Really, really well balanced. It does have a touch of spice, which makes it great for winter, But overall, it's not a spicy fragrance. It's much more of an earthy, woody smell with that patchouli. It does a great job of being dirty, a dirty patchouli, without getting too heavy. I would actually consider it a very light, airy fragrance. I think the aldehydes that Delphine Yelk put in this balance out the deep, woody, earthy scent very well. This one, the performance is not as good as some of the other Guerlain fragrances. It's really about 3 to 4 hours that it's strong on your skin, at least for me. The projection is there, though. My wife can actually smell it on me after I can really get a sense of smell. But it does last on the skin as a skin scent pretty much all day, but you're only getting a few hours of strong projection. Some of the other Guerlain fragrances, complete beast mode scents. This one, not as much. It's a lot lighter, airier of a scent, which I actually like, given that it's got this patchouli and woody sense to it. It doesn't get too heavy on the skin, which I really like. But it is great for a cold November day, cold December day, really February one. It's not a holiday scent, I would not say. It's just a cold, icy, gross day scent. It is absolutely perfect for that. So if you're looking for something this winter that smells great in the cold air, that isn't sweet or super spicy, Patchouli Paris is one I would recommend. So the next fragrance is Starlight by Xerjoff. Let's get you a nice close-up. Absolutely beautiful bottle, if my camera will focus. Really beautiful bottle. As always, Xerjoff has great brand, great packaging. But this, the opening, is really just this massive, massive blast of cardamom. And I love cardamom, but it's this massive overdose of cardamom. But it's got a touch of spice in there, but not the pink pepper spice that a lot of other winter fragrances have. It's a cinnamon spice mixed in later on with the fragrance with a touch of vanilla, making this almost smell like a gourmand. I have trouble classifying it as a gourmand because it doesn't remind me of a specific food. But if you watched my full review on it, I said it reminds me of just the smell of baked goods during Christmas time. It's a very soft, very cozy scent, very inviting. It's basically just what you want things to smell like during Christmas time. This warm, cozy sweater you're wearing, and then you've got baked goods, you've got a Christmas tree, there's a touch of cedar or woods. Just a beautiful scent by Xerjoff, my favorite from them. And this fragrance is beast mode. I spray it on 8 in the morning, 5 o'clock, it's still there. You're gonna have no problem with longevity or projection from most Xerjoffs, but this one especially, 1 or 2 sprays, you are good. But this is probably like if I had to specify a fragrance as the ultimate Christmas Eve fragrance, Starlight by Xerjoff, it would be that. It would be that. Absolutely adore that fragrance. Now, the final fragrance, I named this top 5. I think I only have 4. 1 second. Oh, that's the other one. Completely forgot about this one because it's not the full bottle. I've had a full bottle. I used the full bottle. I gifted another full bottle. But number 4 is Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. Cheaper than Guerlain, more expensive than Spicebomb Infrared, right in the middle there. But Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, reviewing it is almost silly because all you can really say is it just smells like leather. You know that smell that really high-end leather has? This is that. And it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. That leather smell isn't the cow hide itself. It was actually a scent designed, I think, 1800s for British royalty to cover up the smell of the cow's skin. And it has become associated with just leather. That is what leather has become as a smell. And this is the most accurate, just original leather smell I have ever come across. I love this one. I love Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. my favorite newer release from Tom Ford. Back in the heyday, he was just ripping off, tobacco vanille, oud wood, just hit after hit. Slow down for Tom Ford. They got acquired by a massive corporation. Their fragrances recently, not for me. Ombre Leather, though, this is really the last one they made that I think is just a masterpiece. Projection, it's there. Longevity, it's there. But you have to be a very masculine man to pull this off, I will say. This one is not for the faint of heart. It's just an extremely strong leather scent that projects and lasts all day long. If you think you can pull that off, good for you. You will rock it. But this is definitely a winter fragrance. If you walk around just oozing leather smell in 80-degree heat, people might throw up. They'll for sure get a headache. But in these cold winter months when you got strong wind, you got the smell of ice, Ombre Leather is a perfect fragrance for that occasion. Now, the final fragrance that we're going to touch on today is my personal favorite fragrance of all time. And I would consider it probably the best winter fragrance, too. It is another by Guerlain, so the price point is a bit higher. But this is, in my opinion, the best release in the art collection from Guerlain and Delphine Yelk. This is Tobacco Honey by Guerlain. Guerlain is actually the only fragrance house that is able to synthesize real honey for their fragrances, which is pretty interesting. Now, I've reviewed this one in full before, but it is the most accurate honey smell I have ever smelled. I've mentioned I've been in one of the largest honey producers and distributors in America for my work. They ship and produce all the honey that any Kroger bakery uses, or really any bread you buy. The honey is sourced from there. Honey for mead and beer comes from there. And I can tell you, this honey smell is so accurate, it's crazy. It is insane to me how accurate this honey smell is to just pure raw honey. It's not overly sweet. It's this powdery honey, which makes it so nice. But then you get, on the dry down, such a wonderful tobacco note. It's not a dirty tobacco. It's just this sweet pipe tobacco smell. If you've been to a state fair and seen the big tobacco leaves hanging to dry, this is the tobacco note. If you've been to state fair or something and you've seen raw honey made by real bees, the actual beehive or whatever they're in there, and weird slider thing. I don't know what they keep bees in. They're not really beehives. They're just weird things where they produce honey. This is that smell. Really, you get two notes. There are other notes on the Fragranticia website, but when you smell it, it's this pure, raw honey. It doesn't get cloying or overly sweet, mixed in with my favorite tobacco of all time in a fragrance. And that is why Guerlain Honey Tobacco is my favorite fragrance, but also just the best winter fragrance of all time. Don't wear it in the heat. It'll be gross. I've done it because I like it so much, and it was kind of gross. But in cold winter months, this thing is glorious. I love this fragrance so much. Longevity, lasts all day. Projection, stay away from elevators. There are no critiques of this fragrance. It's just a masterpiece. Buy it, buy the full bottle, buy a sample, do whatever you have to do to get your nose on that fragrance. But those are my top 5 winter fragrances. Spicebomb Infrared, Victor and Rolf. Patchouli Paris, Guerlain. Ombre Leather, Tom Ford. Xerjoff Starlight. Guerlain Honey Tobacco. All masterpieces, all very